share is how we managed an active construction site in Chicago as Oracle as the owner. A little bit of my background: I worked in the construction engineering for almost 17 years, and last 3 years I joined Oracle. And I will talk about our vision, the strategy, and today you're actually going to see how we manage our own project with the technology on site and how we benefit from putting them in one place. So if it's good, I'll start the presentation. Okay, great. So our mission as Oracle is to help people see. I hear some background noise. Is that okay? Great. Our mission is to help people see the data in new ways, and based on that mission, I want to talk about a little bit of our company. We're Oracle, over 140,000 employees, and at the core, we're a technology company, as most of you know, and we also have applications. Those applications include your ERP systems, your HCM systems that actually really help our corporate customers manage their back of house. We also have industry solutions, and those in the construction engineering space know us with Primavera Suite and Unifier, and those really started almost 11, 12 years ago when Oracle started a business unit for construction engineering. There are actually 9 other business units which serve certain verticals. There is one for utilities, hospitality, retail, food and beverage. As an example, if you go to a Starbucks and swipe your credit card, most likely they're using Micro's backend and forend, and so that you'll see that is our hardware and software. Most likely, if you make a reservation in one of the major hotel chains around the globe, they're using our product to actually hold your reservation data. That's for Oracle Hospitality. There is one for communications, which serves pretty much all the communication providers out there. So these business units actually provide products that serve certain verticals, and construction engineering is one of them. What I want to share is how we actually build our ecosystem. Look, every presentation talks about CDE, the Common Data Environment. Everyone talks about digital twins. Everyone talks about BIM models. Everyone talks about how these all things are going to come together. And we are doing the same thing. If you look at it, we have all these products actually, from portfolio management to pre-construction to schedule. Those are Primavera Suite products. Costs, design, construction, and job site mobility, that's AConnect. Payments for Textura, and Unifier for pretty much touches all those. We do have the foundation of a common data environment for these products, and we also have products that actually provide data science on top of it. What we have done is 3 years ago, we changed our strategy and start introducing how we would actually work with other software companies. There are lots of logos that you see on the screen around us, and those mostly provide hardware. So if you look at Milwaukee and Bosch, they provide connected tools. If you look at Sensera Systems, they provide cameras. But then there are other software companies, like if you look at Reconstruct or Raycon, that's what they provide. If you look at Faro, it's a laser scanning company. So all these actually provide data, and they also have their own cloud platforms. And we do recognize that we can't solve every problem, and so we are actually working with other technology companies to bring all these products together in one environment. Now I want to talk a little bit of background about the Innovation Lab. This is in Chicago. It is 20 minutes north of O'Hare Airport. And our idea was to build a simulated construction site and actually try the technologies, test them, and validate them with customers and partners. So this site was opened in 2018, August, and we call this phase 1. As you see here, it represents a phase of a construction site. It's a vertical construction. You'll see the steel, a trailer, a fenced area. You're seeing a skid steer on the site. If you look at this picture, it actually doesn't look that complicated or complex. But the reality is we actually tested and validated a lot of technologies on the site. So we are Oracle, so we have pretty high expectations for the site, what it will do. And it even exceeded our own expectations, to the point that we actually had over 900 guests in the first 15 months. And they came from all around the world. They came as far as New Zealand, Australia, China, Middle East, Europe, other parts of Americas. I mean, like I said, we thought initially we'll set the site up. And one of the key things we have done different is we have a lot of focus on short to midterm value. So the technologies, I'll say 80 to 90% of the technologies that's on the site is actually commercially available technologies that has publicly available APIs. And what we're doing here is we're making sure those technologies work together, bring the best value to our customers. And again, based on the success of the site, we actually got funding to build the second phase. This is the construction site that I'm going to talk about it today. So if you look at the timeline, so August 2018 is the start of the phase one. That lasted December 2019. And we started building the phase two, the construction in the same location, this lab, that the picture that you're seeing on the right. And that project is actually about to be completed. So phase two is about to complete in a month or so. And what you're seeing is we actually used all the technologies that we tested and validated on phase one to build phase two. That's the story here. The story here is how we use them, how we actually put them in place to run our own project. Then, as you all know, COVID-19 happened around February, March, and a lot of the technologies, which I'm going to show on the next slide, and the use cases that we were looking at become more than nice to have. They become a must need. So first time we actually start sharing around April, May with the world and say, well, we're building our construction site and we have all these technologies. And what we can show you is not a prototype. It's not a demo. These are actually commercially available technologies which will help you build your construction site during this time. A lot of them had to do with technologies that are listed here. So what I want to do is I want to share with you what we had in phase one. In the first 15 months, we had technologies related to material tracking and workers. We asked our customers and said, what is the most important thing for you on a work site? They said, well, as long as I know where my material is and I know the crew, I'll just get the work done. So what you're seeing here is like material tracking and Readiness works with our scheduling product, with a partner product that has integrations available, which allows you to track the material from production to shipment to delivery on site. And again, all the use cases that you see has been driven by our customers. And the products, the integrations that we actually have are, again, not demos or prototypes. They're actually working, public API built integrations with partners. So material tracking allows us to know where is the product? Is it in production? Is it shipped? Is it on site? Then on the site, it lets us find it on the site. And we try to see how we can do it. I will give more examples of this use cases in the next slides when I talk about how we use them to build our own construction in Chicago. A lot of technologies related to Internet of Things, whether it's worker location, equipment authorization, followers, tool tracking. So we work with our partners on those. And especially in the worker location one, we partner with a company and they have a clip the worker can wear. It doesn't give you exact location of the worker, but it tells you approximately which zone they're in. That helps with the privacy concerns. Also, like we don't do anything related to facial recognition. So we stayed away from those, privacy issues. But it does help us to know, well, a crew has to be in this zone, but they're in a different zone. It actually gives you transparency to what's going on the site. The other topic that our customers told us, and as we as Oracle Construction Engineering serve lots of owners and contractors, and everyone said, the contractors and the owners said, we all have to do progress reporting. Whether it is the subcontractor reporting to general contractor, that goes to owner, that goes to financer, everybody has to tell what is progress complete. And we have a lot of products to help that as Oracle. But what we try to do is work with partners and our product innovations to figure out how we can automate that process. Again, on the next slides, I'm going to give specific examples of that. And then number 4 is about centralizing operations. Again, we had the vision that as the expertise is retiring, the industry is changing, the digitization is accelerating, we need to centralize all these operations. So from BIM model coordination to CDE to common data environment to virtual progress reporting, all these things, most of them that's listed in the command center are Oracle products. And if you think about us, we serve products on scheduling, project management, payment management, and process optimization. That's as, without naming the products, that's as high level as I will mention. But we serve that project management functionality significantly. And then the last one, we used and tried and partnered with companies which provide augmented reality solutions. But what we have learned in 15 months is, unfortunately, we have not been able to find a hardware that really works well in augmented reality. If you do know that's something that works really well, please let us know. The main challenges, as most of you might know, is a lot of processing of those augmented reality devices are done on the headsets. And there's issue with daylight reflection. There's issue with battery, issue with the model sizes. They're mostly worked well for indoor environments or certain environments that are not outdoor, not like our typical construction sites. So, and also the amount of effort that takes to put them in place. So if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I would say 1, 2, 3, 4 are pretty mature products. They work well together. They're integrated with partner products. 5 is still in the works. We're trying to figure out, especially on the hardware side, what makes sense. Now, I am going to shift gears a little bit and continue talking about our operations. So we have that simulated site the first 15 months in Chicago, and then we actually start building this lab. And during that period, by the way, I mentioned a few other Oracle businesses. So we are now have in this lab construction engineering, utilities, and communications business of Oracle actually part of it. And if you think about all those, they're pretty related to each other. Communications provides connectivity to utilities and construction and engineering. And then if you look at utilities, we serve the same customer base. We help them in the construction engineering, helps them to build the infrastructure and maintain it. And then utilities help them to operate it. So how did we build the site? We actually, like I said, we use 3 of our core products to build the site. AConnect for project management, Primavera for scheduling, Textura for payments, and then Oracle Real Estate use Unifier product. Those are our 4 core products to actually do all the program management, high-level project management activities. And then you see 13 logos here. Look, it's a lot of logos, and they all provided their hardware and software on the site to build it. And we come up with a schedule to actually how to implement it. As you can imagine, we prioritize the project management ones and look at the phases of the construction. Because one of the key things for a construction site is we don't want to have, I call it the innovation fatigue, right? If you have a lot of technologies and they're all coming to the project team, they will be overwhelmed. So what we did is we phased them out. We come up with a plan how to implement them with the general contractor, and we used all of them at the same time on the site. I will talk more in detail of each ones, but these logos I'll highlight it with a few highlights. So Aconex is for project management, Primavera for scheduling, Textura for payments, Verizon is for connectivity. Here provides mapping, Sensera is cameras, Atlas RFID is material tracking, SmartVid allows us to take images and process and use AI engine to recognize things on site. The Construct is a product that allows us to connect the model, the schedule, and the model, the schedule, and reality capture in one place. Triax is the clips the workers wear. If they fall, it sends an alert. ITI provides virtual reality safety trainings. Milwaukee and Bosch are tools. Caterpillar, as you know, is the equipment many provides on the site. Versatile is a startup which has an IoT device you attach to the crane, helps productivity. And Faro is our partner, which allowed us to bring Boston Dynamics spots. Many of you heard it. I'm sure you heard it today too. Seen examples of the spot robots with Boston Dynamics. Our partner is Faro. Faro actually built integration with the robot brought to the site. We tested it many times, which allowed Faro to actually, I'm excited to say this, allowed Faro to launch their product, which is fully integrated with the robot to be able to laser scan the site. Now, what I'm gonna do in next slides is kind of talk about these use cases and give you a little bit more, in-depth view of how we used it, why we used it, and what we did with it. So let's start with the visual command center. What you're seeing is actually me with the bald head. Unfortunately, you can't see me today. The video is not working for some reason on Skype. We have modeling capabilities in Aconex. So we can actually federate the models, provide a common data environment, and provide a digital twin of the asset. And what you're seeing is inside the lab layout. So what we decided to do is we decided to have an as-built of this project, end of the project, as a digital twin. Now, if you ask the definition of digital twin to 9 people, they'll probably give you a different definition. I'll share my definition of it for the construction use case. It's when you create the model and you do on the design phase, then you actually put the metadata in it, and then you update it and revise it with the coordinated model, and then you actually create at the end of the project an as-built model. As you're doing that, you put sensors into the building, you tie those sensor data into the model, then you'll be able to run simulations. That's my definition. Now, for this one, we actually didn't put all the metadata. So the discussion we're having is there's a lot of technology, and I'm sure you heard today, and you probably will hear from a lot of software vendors about the models and the benefits and the metadata, and I truly believe in that. The challenge is not every data is used for operations. So what we decided to do is we asked the general contractor to provide the metadata for this project only for the systems that require maintenance and operations. So when you look at the model, you're going to have, as an example, we are not going to have the metadata for the doorknobs or the ceiling tiles, but we're going to have the metadata in the model as built end of the project for mechanical systems, electrical, HVAC, for AV system in the building. So anything that actually requires maintenance and operations, we asked to actually get the data and to be able to use that. That's the logic we used, and the logic didn't, we could have got all the metadata in the model, but what we really were trying to do here is we get a lot of feedback from our customers and actually the end users, and we're trying to replicate exactly how this thing happens in the real world, right? It's one thing to be able to put a model with all the bells and whistles and show you the flow and everything else. That's great. But it's another thing to actually implement these things on the site. So we're following what is actually done and what is potentially reasonable to do on work sites. I am going to continue on the virtual command center. I would like to talk about Primavera. Look, I'm sure most of you know Primavera for a long time, and everyone knows Primavera as the #1 product on scheduling for critical path methods that it used. We actually developed a cloud version of Primavera, which has also Lean built into it. So for this project, what we have done is this allows you to use CPM, the critical path method, and the Lean at the same time. So you don't actually have to choose. So that's a big shift. There's a big battle going on with schedulers who believe in CPM, and then master planning, long-term planning, and scheduling, and then the group who believes in lean task management, lean processes with the pool planning and the short-term planning and tasks. Our product actually allows you to use both at the same time. You don't have to pick CPM or lean. You actually use them together. So what you're seeing on the left is a person who's using a touch screen. Those bars, the thin bars, are the schedule. Those squares are the tasks. Again, what I'm showing you is not a prototype or a demo. This is a commercially available product. And our customers are actually using it to do CPM and lean, and we did the same. We used this for the construction of the site. What really happened for the pandemic-wise is, as the pandemic, happened, we couldn't have people in the same place, right, in the same room. So we actually take this touchscreen approach to a virtual meeting. So you run a virtual meeting, you pull up our product on the screen, and then you can assign the tasks, you can decide who's doing what, you can align them to the schedule activities, and we start doing everything virtual. And our customers did the same, by the way. So one of the things that is happening is there's a significant move to the cloud with these products, especially, a lot of things be able to access, remotely, being able to manage the projects remotely. So we see a big shift to the cloud products as these are evolving. And if you look at the lean process, I always joke about it. The process of lean is probably the least lean process itself, because you're putting sticky notes on a wall and then you're having people to transfer that information to another digital format. This allows you to do everything in one place. I have mentioned our material readiness and contactless site deliveries, and we have integration with our partner product, Jovix. So Jovix is a company which has schedule integration with Primavera, and it allows you to track all the materials from production to shipment to delivery on site to finding on site and installation. Now let's play some scenarios and see how this will work. Let's say you have a schedule activity and that actually has 100 pieces that has to come together next week. That activity, those link to the schedule IDs to the work packages shows up in Jovix. And what it will do is you can say, well, my work is next week and 10% is in production, 30% is shipped, and then 10% is delivered on the site, and the remaining 50%, you don't know where they are. So if the work is next week and you don't know where the remaining 50% is, you're in trouble. We have seen the implementation of this in very large projects, billions of dollars, 3-4 million pieces. We are also seeing this implementation on smaller projects because to track the critical path. And for the project in Chicago, that's what we did. We again decided not to track every piece on the project. And we made a decision that we should track really anything that is on the critical path, the logical thing to do. So we tracked steel, we tracked curtain wall, as this is a building. Another approach to this is it looks like an eye test, but the image to the right, you will see two white rectangles and a box to the left. So those are gate readers and the edge compute device on the left. So what that allows is when the steel arrives to site, it reads the RFID tags and it registers to Jovix, which then links it to schedule. So this allowed us to know what arrived on the site contactless. You don't need to have a manifesto. You don't need anyone to sign off. It arrived on the site. You could find it. The other use case, which is we heard this from all our customers, is material loss. Some customers told us, they've been saying this for a couple of years, is the material loss on a construction site could be 5 to 10%. And if that's a significant impact to the project. So, you could find the materials on the site, where they're last seen on the site. And for the one in Chicago, actually, I was pretty surprised because, look, it's not a big site, right? This is not acres and acres. Material, we have a laydown yard for material storage. We thought we could find them. What we learned is, actually, one day we had where the steel erector came back and said they couldn't find certain pieces and parts, and it took 2 minutes for the superintendent to pull up the iPad and show where those pieces are on the site. So again, even on a small site, we realized that you could still have an issue about materials. Again, you probably heard about this. We use this technology on the site to build the site. Faro is our partner, laser scanner. The data goes to our common data environment. And then from that, we visualize it. We have the models fully coordinated in AKNX and scheduled. They all come together in another product named Reconstruct. Reconstruct is a company that is in our startup accelerator that allows us to take all this visual data and overlay it. One thing is we use this a lot and we test it and validate it, and then actually Faro launched this product to the market. Now, what I'm sharing with you is the visual command center. I shared only the laser scanning. So this is everything we've done. We use photos, laser scanning, LiDAR, drone flights, 360 video, live cameras. Again, this is not a demo or a prototype. These things we tried and actually implemented with the APIs that are currently available. And they go to AKNX, they go to Primavera, that is Primavera or Unifier. And then we display this in Reconstruct to manage the sites. Another example I want to show is social distancing. Here's our social distancing, the technology that we use with a partner. Again, all the photos are saved in AKNX that then visualized in, then actually pulled into SmartVid. So before pandemic, SmartVid allowed to process the images and they look for PPE compliance, like the hard hat, the vest, they could look at the pictures and identify. They looked at housekeeping. They said, well, the site is clean or not, how it's organized. It looked at work at height and construction activities. It could categorize the images based on that. And what you're seeing here is actually all this data that goes into SmartVid. And when the pandemic happened, we asked them to make changes. And 2-3 weeks later, they were able to provide the information in people and groups, which allowed us to do mobile access. It has a mobile access which can tell us if there's a picture and people in a group. And the other partner I mentioned is Triax with the hardware, which allowed us to know workers in a zone. They developed and improved their product to do proximity tracing, which allows you to alert when workers get to a certain distance and also do contact tracing with it. And then improved payments. Look, we implemented our payment processing product, Textura. Textura actually processed around 8 billion, with a B, a month of actual cost of construction payments. It holds the world's largest actual cost data set, over $250 billion. And all the pay apps, processing, everything was digitized. So during the pandemic, this helped a lot. From March to May this year, 2020, the contractor actually improved the payment timeline by 2 weeks. And then when you compare this project to any other project they had, they were paying the subcontractors 1 week faster. Well, the reason is this basically takes all the processing of lien waivers and everything is digitized and allows us to do that. So before I come to the conclusion, I want to talk a little bit about our team in Latin America. We have an entire presence in several industries related to critical assets lifecycle in Latin America, and some very interesting implementations in oil and gas, for example, in Brazil, Ecuador, or Mexico. In public infrastructure like metros in Santiago, Panama, and Bogota, this is still in implementation. In energy sector, mainly in Colombia. In construction management in Mexico, Central America, mainly in Colombia, with some interesting use cases in the housing development and in that cycle. And then this is our team. So everything, like I've said earlier, is our products that we work with customers and partners. The team you see here works in the public sector, private, and solution engineers that you see are here to support you. So if you're interested, please have discussions with them. And if you want to learn more about the Innovation Lab, I'll be happy to schedule virtual visits, which we will be able to have you host virtually in Chicago. So I want to say thank you to everyone. I'm actually going to go back to the other screen. Hopefully, you'll be able to see me. All right, this is the end of my presentation. Hope you guys enjoyed it.